We often hear from our customers that the Amazon Workspaces Bring Your Own License or BYOL process is challenging. In this video, I want to show you how we can simplify the process and make it much easier for you to get an image ready to import into Amazon Workspaces. With that, my name is Russell Bell. I am a Senior Solutions Architect with Amazon's EUC that covers Workspaces and AppStream. Today, we are going to be focusing solely on Workspaces Bring Your Own License or BYOL. From an agenda perspective, we're going to take a look at creating a virtual machine with VMware Workstation specifically today. We're going to go over some of the install recommendations. Now, this is not meant to be a full-on how to install Microsoft Windows video, but rather what will make the BYOL process much simpler. We're also going to look at how we export this VM to an OVA from VMware Workstation, and then we're going to take a look at some next steps and have a call to action. Okay, here I am in VMware Workstation, and we're going to get started by creating a new virtual machine. I'm going to select typical settings here. I am going to be using Windows 11 for this demo, specifically 23H2. Here, I am going to rename this to a different name just so I know which one it is. I'm just going to call that Windows 11-demo. I am going to go ahead and provide a password here. This is a requirement for Windows 11 to have TPM as well as having the necessary files encrypted. I did uncheck remember the password as we are going to remove this later at the end of this video so we can export this as an OVA. Here I'm going to keep the default drive size at 64 gigs. I am going to change and choose to store it in a single file. Now here I am going to customize some of the hardware, such as adding 8 gigs of RAM just to give me a little bit more horsepower. And here I am going to choose the host only adapter, which basically will allow this machine to communicate with my local host, but not give this virtual machine internet access. Going to go ahead and click finish here. Let this machine start to create, and it should power on, and we can begin the install of Windows 11. Now, I will, through Movie Magic, speed some of this stuff up. So I am going to pause here for a moment, get through the install, and then I will be back after Windows has successfully finished installing. All right, now that we've finished installing Windows, we are just going through the initial setup. I did want to pause right here for a moment and talk through the host-only adapter. And essentially the reason we do that is you'll notice here it is saying that we do not have internet access. We do want to continue this, so I'm going to go ahead and click I don't have internet and continue with limited setup. Now the reason for this is Windows 11 does like to do updates when it is doing the install process. So doing it this way ensures that Windows 11 will not update during the install, as doing updates during the initial install of Windows could cause challenges with the BYOL import process. Once we have the image in Amazon Workspaces, you can follow your normal patch process and cadence to keep Windows up to date. So here, I also want to talk through one of the requirements for BYOL import to work is to have a workspaces_BYOL account on your system. Now the checker script will do that. I do find it easier if we just go ahead and create it as the first user. So that's what I'm going to do here. And now moving forward, the rest of the install will be just the same for installing Windows 11. Okay, now that we're in Windows, I am going to go ahead and install VMware Workstation tools. So that way we can communicate between my local host and the VM. So that way I can copy the contents of the BYOL checker script folder over to this VM. Again, I will speed some of this up so that way we don't have to watch the install process and the reboot for VMware tools. Okay, now that we've logged back into Windows after installing VMware tools, I am going to copy over the contents of our BYOL checker script to the VM. So I'm going to close this window out, and then we need to go ahead and set our PowerShell execution policy so we can run the script. And then I'm going to go ahead and change directories into our documents folder so that we can then run the PowerShell script. So now that we're running the script, we're going to click Begin Test. And what you'll notice is we have some warnings and we have some failures. To fix the warnings, I'm going to go ahead and click the box or the button that says Fix All Warnings. I'm going to run the test again. You can see we still do have two failures, one for having the CD-ROM attached and also having VMware tools installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this window out. I'm going to go to Add or Remove Programs and remove VMware tools. Okay, now that VMware Tools is done installing, I'm actually going to choose No, that I'll reboot later. And what I am going to do is I am going to shut this virtual machine down because we also have to remove the CD-ROM or DVD-ROM drive from the virtual machine settings. So I'll wait for that machine to shut down. And then we're going to go into the settings of this virtual machine. We're going to find our CD, DVD-ROM drive. We're going to click Remove. Going to say OK there, and then we're going to power this virtual machine back up. Okay, now that I've logged back into this virtual machine, I am once again going to run PowerShell as an administrator, and then I am going to run the BYOL checker script again. So I've clicked Begin Test there. You will see that now that we have done this, all the tests have passed. It may be tempting to run sysprep. We don't actually want to do that at this time. So we're going to close out the BYOL checker script. We're going to close out of the command prompt there, or the PowerShell window, and we are going to shut this virtual machine down. Now that the virtual machine is shut down, we can move forward with removing the Trusted Platform Module, or TPM, and also unencrypting the files so that way we can export an OVA of this virtual machine. So to do that, we're going to go into the settings of the virtual machine. We're going to select the Trusted Platform Module. We're going to say Remove, and then we're going to say OK there. Then we once again have to go back into the settings of the virtual machine, go to Options, Access Control, and Remove Encryption. Now we type in the password that we set earlier in the video, say Remove Encryption. That'll take just a moment for it to remove that, and then we will move on to exporting the OVA. So now that that's done, we can click OK on this window. We can make sure our virtual machine is selected, go to File, Export OVA, and once we're in the folder where we want to export that, we are going to change the file extension to an OVA, and then we're going to click Save. So this export will take a few minutes, but once this is done, you will have an OVA that you will then be able to import into Amazon Simple Storage Service, or Amazon S3, to continue the process of importing your BYOL image. We do plan for this to be a video series, so now that we've done VMware Workstation, we will have another video for Hyper-V. We will also have another video where I will walk you through the process of uploading either the OVA file that we've done in this video or the VHDX for Hyper-V into S3, importing that into EC2, and then bringing that over to Workspaces to make a BYOL image. Thank you everyone for watching. Here are some of the links to the resources I used during the making of this video. I will also put these links in the description below, along with links to the Amazon Workspaces administration guide for BYOL and other helpful links. As a call to action, I suggest everyone go check those out. As mentioned in the video earlier, we do plan to make this a series, so be on the lookout for the same material around Hyper-V, setting up that VM and configuring it. We will also be releasing another video that will tie all this together and walk you through taking the OVA or your VHDX, importing that into Amazon Simple Storage Service or Amazon S3, how we make an Amazon Machine Image or AMI out of that OVA or VHDX, and then how we get that into Amazon Workspaces as an image for you to deploy. Again, thank you all for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.